I think I've experienced a very wide gamut of psychedelics. Like, especially those original experiences, I think Spirit was really taking care of me. At the same time, I've learned that I have to learn to also take care of myself and regulate how I use them, because dark energies and bad experiences can come in just as much as really good ones, depending on the circumstances. So in my curiosity to be a sort of a pioneer for myself of the psychedelics, I've had both just the most transcendent and amazing experiences, and also some incredibly dark, twisted, scary ones. And so I think it's important to acknowledge that. Like, it sounds like so far from what I've described, someone listening might be like, wow, I got to get me some acid or whatever, right? And I actually want to encourage people to like really take the time to learn about it first, because I've put myself through many years of suffering and just hard or difficult times and challenging circumstances and relationships, because I was maybe a little bit too flippant, or a little didn't take the psychedelics or the substances as seriously, because I was like, oh no, it's always great.
Yeah, you were a bit more casual in your approach.
A bit more casual. I didn't really know about the need for what you could call psychic protection, or just setting the space, the proper space and setting and substance, or making sure that everything is really sacred. Because when you don't treat it that way, I mean, I kind of see it like a portal into I might say other dimensions, but more so that it makes your awareness more fully aware of yourself and everything around you in all of the dimensions, right?
Yeah, it expands your consciousness.
Yeah, you're already existing multidimensionally. The psychedelics just open yourself up to what's around you. But if you're in a really grungy environment, or you're around people who are really, in a darker place themselves, or they themselves are cursed, or have some dark entities around them, you might end up opening up yourself to receive those spirits, and then it might take you 10, 20 years to exorcise them from your body, because you don't even know that you've been infected. It works that way with food. If we eat some bad food and you don't realize, and then it kind of, that can affect you for a long period of time, just like long belief systems. You grow up with a belief that you're a worthless piece of shit. You go through your whole life thinking so low of yourself, that belief system is going to continually affect you until you rewrite the pattern. So it's the same way with psychedelics, right? It's brought so much clarity, healing, love when it's been used properly, and also has brought me to these places of like, I've realized some very serious mistakes that I've made in my life by being too flippant or too casual, as you said.
And psychedelics helped you come to that understanding by allowing your awareness to expand.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, by using the psychedelics, I can make a big mess, and then I can use more psychedelics to solve them.
Right, to clean it up a little bit.
To make the mess worse.
Or to even see the mess in the first place. Exactly. A mess that might have been invisible to you, or buried so deep in your subconscious that it takes an experience like this to open the hatch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I used to think that the psychedelics were going to be the answer to solve a lot of problems. But I'm realizing now they're just another vehicle, just as food is, just as meditation is, right? For spirit to play a part in one's life. So if we use them with the intention of growing closer to God, or closer to spirit, then in doing so, may we reach our arms up to spirit, and then spirit reaches his arms back and pulls us up, right? And we kind of come closer together. But if we're just like, yeah, no, I can use the psychedelics and I can heal my diseases and heal my whatever, then we're making the substance itself into the deity. Whereas, no, God made the substance. God made the planet. God made right? God did it all. And that's what is meant by the biblical commandment, thou shalt not have any gods before me. And I'm not saying this as like a Christian or trying to preach, go everyone join Catholicism.
Sure, that's what they meant.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like all of the churches, all of the religion. The Tao says that, right? Like you can find it in every tradition, right? Krishna says that, like, and all of them are essentially trying to point to there is a supreme power. You can call it whatever you want to. There is some kind of divine intelligence that is beyond and working its way through everything. It is the way through everything. It is the structure and the spirit and the essence by which all of reality comes into being. And we're essentially like living out and playing this holographic reality experience within that field. And we are the awareness of that greater thing experiencing itself. But we're experiencing ourselves often as this disconnected, separate thing, right? Within that matrix. And we don't perceive that we're all intimately connected. But if we can acknowledge that and humble ourselves and say, oh, I don't know. But if there's this divine intelligence that kind of has a greater picture of what's going on, then if I can just surrender or submit myself to the higher power, and say, Lord, do with me what you will, whatever that might be, however we might want to, communicate with that, because everyone's got a different language. Some people might prefer to say spirit or divine intelligence or supreme oneness or whatever, God. But it's just in that submission, in the allowing yourself to humble yourself before the divine intelligence, then, those who humble themselves will be exalted. Those who exalt themselves will be humbled. So let that power play a part in your life, and then it will lead you to the psychedelic if that's right for you, and to have a better experience with it. But if you're like, now I know what I'm doing and I'm going to go and take care of, kind of arrogantly go off and try and write your own story without acknowledgement or awareness of a greater story that's being written, usually we end up kind of going in the wrong way because we're kind of going against the grain. We're not paying attention to where the current of life is actually trying to take us. Yeah. And, we can spend, by doing so, we can circumambulate the center that we're supposed to be getting to. We can spend years going in the wrong way or kind of just going around, when if we just went to the center, which means going to our center, going to the pineal, right? And then the center of the heart. By going to the center, we can learn what the story is for us, and then we can walk in that path. And then it's like you and God and all of reality are kind of working together, as opposed to the ego thinking it's going to write its own story, and the spirit kind of going like, all right, but I'm trying to get you over here. You'll like this better, but you're not paying attention and you're going after this. Watch the full episode of the Good Trip podcast using the link in the description. Enjoy.